before we really get into detail, we also saw some mention about Varnashrama. Varna Ashrama. In Varna means actually qualities. Varna also it has another name as color. So, but actually Varna means qualities. So depending on the quality, people really have their own, their ashrama. So this is nothing but division of labor. What is the division of labor? Because everybody is not same. Everybody has different tendencies and different qualities to really do whatever they really want to do. So if you really see, there are 4 kinds of people throughout the world. It is there. It is not something only in certain place. So Brahmanas, they are teachers and priests because they are always spiritually oriented because of the previous births and everything. So they are already so advanced, and then so when they are coming, they really have that kind of attitude to be interested only in devotional activities and also preaching, teaching. So that is one kind of people. Then also there is another kind of people, warriors or administrators. So they all actually interested in actually defense and also the management. So those kind of people are actually called Kshatriyas, whereas the other one is actually called Brahmanas. This has nothing to do with the caste system. So caste system actually got invented, and it is what is actually causing a lot of problems, especially in India. Caste system is not supported in Vedas. It's not supported in Bhagavad Gita. Absolutely no. Okay, so then Vaisyas, they are merchants because they are really interested in business, selling, buying. Those are actually business people. So then Sudras are the normal workers. Because they don't have, they can actually use their body, but not their brain. So they are actually born like that. So now if you see how they are also all, related to the Bhagavan only. From Bhagavan only, all the Jiva, everything is actually coming. So, pictorially what is actually depicted is, from the face of the Lord, Brahmanas appeared. From the arms, Kshatriyas appeared. From his belly, Vaishyas appeared. And from the legs, Sudras appeared. Okay, so how this maps to is, face, this is basically the briny portion. Right? Briny, that's why I really told you, because they are actually Brahmanas, not by birth. Our Varnashrama has nothing to do with birth. Okay. Then arms. That is, see, the thing is, suppose somebody is actually trying to attack, immediately your hand will go for defense. So that is actually arms. So from his arms, basically Kshatriyas actually appeared. Belly is a big distribution system. We eat the food, but everybody. So the nutrition should really go to all over the body. So that is actually done by the Vaisyas. Okay, that is actually represent the belly. And the legs is really action, right? We always constantly, because without leg, we are almost dead. So no action. So that is Sudras. So this is how it actually comes in. But again, the ultimate Varnashrama is to perform one's duties as per their natural inclination. We are not forcing that because you are born like this, you have to do like that. No. That is not like that. Okay, so ultimately, by doing their duties according to their qualities, Varna, they satisfy the Lord Vishnu by Bhakti. So ultimately, they should all, go to Bhakti. Bhakti is the ultimate, the aim of this whole Varnashrama system. Okay, all right. So with that, now let us get in. In Bhakti, there are 3 kinds of, there are 3 stages of Bhakti. It's not kind, it's a stages. One goes from one to another and another. So first one is Sadhana Bhakti, second is Bhava Bhakti, and third one is Prema Bhakti. So everyone, when they start in the Bhakti, they are actually starting from Sadhana Bhakti. Because they will actually try to follow rules and regulations as they were actually instructed, either by a sadhu or by his guru or whatever. So Sadhana Bhakti is the place where they start it. Rules and regulations mostly. Most rules and regulations you have to follow. Okay? By sadhana, spiritual activities. But when the spiritual activities really go high, when they develop taste, and when they attach with the Lord, especially when you have deity, then the bhava will come. Bhava means it's a spiritual mellow. You will have attachment to your deities or Bhagavan, so whatever you are actually worshipping, you have attachment. You love them. You start to love them. Okay, so that comes after sadhana bhakti. Sadhana bhakti, no, it won't manifest. You just do the spiritual activities as you are told. That's all. Then eventually the bhava will come. Bhava is a mellow. That means the heart is actually, it is melting. It started to melt. And when it really matures again and again as you really go high, then prema bhakti will come. Prema means there is no more rules and regulation. There is absolutely no more. This is they are always immersed in the spontaneous love for Radha Krishna. Rules don't apply. This primarily, if you see the life of gopis, this is exactly what you really see. Gopis are having prema bhakti. Then there are two types of sadhana bhakti. There are two types of sadhana bhakti. So because we saw sadhana bhakti, bhava bhakti, and then the prema bhakti. Now we will take the sadhana bhakti, and if we see here, there are actually two kinds. One is strict rules and regulation, very strict. Vaiti bhakti. Okay, so if you see, for example, if you really see all the sampradayas, they are actually following Vaiti bhakti. That's true. But if you see Sri Sampradaya, for example, they are really, their rules and regulation is so strict. This is typically about the Vaikunta. Because where they really reach there and they really serve Bhagavan in that opulent mood where they really strictly follow the rules and regulation even there. So the destination is usually Vaikunta. That is Vaiti Bhakti. But everybody starts from Vaiti Bhakti only. Because Raganuga Bhakti, which is the second one. What is Raganuga Bhakti? This is purely based on love for Radha Krishna only, not for anyone else. Raganuga is actually only for Radha Krishna Bhakti. Okay, not even Lord, Vishnu or something. That's even though that is fine, but the thing Raganuga comes means only Krishna comes into picture there, Radha Krishna. Now these rules and regulation does not apply to Raganuga Bhakti, and this needs exclusive mercy from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So if you really don't have mercy from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you are not really going to develop any attachment to Radha Krishna worship. This is actually there in the scriptures. And their destination is different. Their destination is not Vaikunta. Their destination is Goloka. Because Goloka, there is no rules and regulation. There is no opulence there. There is only love. It's completely all prema. So Raga Bhakti, Raganuga Bhakti, is basically Raga. Raga means actually prema bhakti. So that is the second one. But even though it is part of the sadhana bhakti, but the Raganuga Bhakti, when they really develop the higher taste, they will really go, because their destination is different and their mindset itself is different when they are doing sadhana itself. Then when the Bhava Bhakti comes, it's those who really follow the Vaiti Bhakti, they will actually go, straight away to Lord Narayan and, that way so that they can reach Vaikunta. But Raganuga Bhakti, Bhaktas, they will separate right there. And, when they come to Bhava Bhakti, they do only Radha Krishna, nothing else. Okay, they will go to Goloka. Alright? So for normal people, they have to start from Vaiti Bhakti. That is why even though Srila Prabhupada was a Raganuga, he had to start first, starting from Vaiti Bhakti. Because if you see that, because when he came to really give Raganuga Bhakti, people are not qualified. So he had to cut jungles. People are eating all kinds of things, so many things. So he never came to the Raganuga Bhakti. So as our Gurudev said, if Prabhupada did not really establish the Vaiti Bhakti through his organization and all, then our Gurudev, who is actually completely Raganuga Bhakti, he came only to give Raganuga Bhakti, could not have really done it in the Western world, because they have to be first elevated. So nobody as such, normally people cannot come to Raganuga Bhakti straight away. Okay, so this is very important. That is why if you see that, more than 90% of our Gaudiyas, Gaudiya Bhaktas, they really came from Srila Prabhupada's ISKCON. Why? Because that is a boot camp. Everybody likes that only. So when they really see, all right, now I am okay, now I want more. When they need more, then they really get hold of a guru who is actually doing Raganuga Bhakti, then they really go switch. So through Vaidhi Bhakti only everybody has to come. Okay, this is exactly our Gurudev actually clearly told about it. So now, next one is there are 4 kinds of people who come to Krishna. There are 4 kinds of people. We saw that. Chaturvida bhajande mam jana sukritino Arjuna artho jinyashur artharthi jnanicha bharat arshava. Lord Krishna said, oh best among the Bharatas, that is Arjuna, 4 kinds of pious men begin to render devotion service unto me. The distressed, they are having so many problems after problem. So they are really totally, disgusted. They really want to really see some, some, from, so that their distress has to really be all right. So they really come for worshipping God. So there's distressed. Inquisitive. Inquisitive means people are really curious. Oh, who is God? Who am I? What is this world? How the whole thing came? And what exactly we are supposed to do? They really have so many questions. They are inquisitive. They also come. Then desire of wealth. They want to get a lot of money and fame and this and everything. All the money they want. Okay, this is a desire of wealth. They also come here. Okay, but the thing is, desire of wealth normally, usually, not in the Raganuga Bhakti, no, these won't be there at all. But it is in the other stages. And then who is searching for knowledge? Jnani. So, Artho, Jinyashur, Artharthi, Jnani. Artho means one who really has lot of suffering. He is distressed. Jinyashur means inquisitive. He wants to find out the, so many truths about the spiritual. Then, Artharthi, desire of wealth, Artha, Kama, so they want wealth. Then Jnani cha. Okay? Then there are 3 kinds of bhaktas: Kanistha, Madhyama, and Uttama. So this Kanistha is actually beginner. They firmly worship deities. They do not know, who is Kanistha, who is Madhyama, who is Uttama. They cannot differentiate. But they really chant occasionally. Madhyama is advanced. Friends, they are actually have friendship with devotees, but they avoid non-devotees. They chant very regularly. Uttama is extremely advanced, the topmost. They chant all the time, and by seeing him, one starts to chant. And then there are 5 kinds of liberations. We really touch base with that. Sayujya is merging in Brahman. Most of the Hinduism, if you see that, they really want to merge in the Brahman, because for them, Brahman is the ultimate, but which is not the true, because Brahman is nothing but is the effulgence of Bhagavan. Okay, so Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavan iti sabdye. That's what Srimad Bhagavatam says. So first we really see the Brahman, which is the effulgence. Then you see Paramatma. Then after that, if we go through, then only Bhagavan can be seen. So Bhagavan is ultimate. He is the soul. So Sayujya is merging in Brahman, which is actually his effulgence. So that is mostly, many of the religions actually they are actually inclined to merge in Brahman. Salokya, Lokya, Loka, Sa means same. We together goes to the planet of the Lord. So here Salokya uniquely refers to Lord Narayana or Lord Shiva, etc. Samipya becomes an associate of Lord. Then Swarupya is getting same form as the Lord. Sarshti is getting the same opulence as the Lord. So if you see, except the Sayujya, all the 4 are completely served in Vaikunta. But however, what about a Krishna devotee? They completely reject all these. Sayujya is the worst, because once you really merge there, then you lose everything. It's like a spiritual suicide. And you won't be having any chance to serve the Lord. Bhagavan is out of the picture for you. So that is why Krishna devotee is completely against Sayujya. And of course, Salokya, Samipya, Sarupa, no, they don't want. They don't want any liberation. They want only bhakti. They want prema bhakti. So he rejects all of them. For example, Damodarashtakam. We are read, right? Varam deva moksham na moksha vadim va. What do they want? Only pure devotion. Idam te vapurnata gopala balam sada me manasya virastam kim manye. I request only your sweet childhood play ever be enacted in my heart to stay. So the pure devotees, pure devotion gives prema for Lord Krishna. It cannot be for anyone else. Prema, it means only with God of love, who is actually Krishna. So Prema Bhakti and Krishna are one to one. The Prema Bhakti always gives Krishna to you. Only Prema Bhakti can give Krishna, nothing else. No Vaiti Bhakti, no, nothing. No, they cannot give Krishna. One has to have Raganuga Bhakti, and then they have to actually come to Bhava, and then Prema Bhakti. So that Prema Bhakti is the only one that can give Krishna. Do we have any restriction about Varnashrama? Is it only a Brahmana can actually get Krishna or Prema? No. There is nothing like that. This is very important. If you really see some of the Sampradayas, they say, no, you have to be born as a Brahmana, otherwise you are not going to get liberation. You are not going to go to Vaikunta. Because later when you really evolve, you will get chance to be born as a Brahmana, and then you can, no, not like that, nothing. Even a Chandala, he is actually a meat eater. But if he really gets back and gets hold of a sadhu, and then he really changes everything, and then he follows. And by the mercy of the sadhu, he becomes a pure bhakta. He goes to Gola Krishna. But this Prema Bhakti, is it available for everybody? No. Even gods don't have. These are all the 33 crores gods we have. They don't have. Because they are stuck in their positions. Creation, maintenance, destruction, this and giving rain, that. They have 4 positions. 33 million gods are running the whole Brahmanda, which has 14 planetary systems in 7 levels. So this is very, very important. No, Varnashrama has nothing to do with that. You may be in any having any quality, doesn't matter at all. Bhakti is beyond all these limitations. It's very important. Okay, this is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the line that we are following is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He relaxed everything. No rules and regulations, no caste system, nothing. The Krishna Bhakta is so special. He does not have any debt to any god. In fact, when we are born, we have so much of debt. We have debt to our ancestors. We have debt to the Devadas. In fact, our body contains so many Devadas sitting. We are indebted. That is why people really worship all the Navagraha, these. So many worship they do, all the gods they really worship. But when one turns to be a pure Bhakta of Krishna, what is he saying? Devarshi bhutata nirnam pitranam na kingaro nayam rini charajan sarvatmanaya sharanam sharanyam gato mukundam parihritya kartam. One who completely surrenders to Bhagavan Mukunda Krishna, who is the affectionate protector of the surrendered souls, no longer remains indebted to any Devadas, any forefathers, other living beings, any king, queen, nothing, no kinsman, nothing, or even to guests. He is not subordinate to anyone, and he is not obliged to serve anyone. My Bhakta is, he really takes his pure Bhakta, Premi Bhakta, and then put it on his head. This is the quality of Krishna. That is why Krishna Bhaktas cry and cry and cry. Because of the quality of Krishna. Because of the prema that actually makes him even more enjoyable, blissful than the Lord. So he is worshipping. Krishna worships gopis. Gopis lotus feet. When he went to Dwaraka, what he did? He actually took a small, small dabba. What was the thing? Every day he takes it and then puts it on his head. What was that? It was a dust from the gopis' feet. This is Bhagavan. Do you understand? This is the reason that a Krishna Bhakta will never worship any demigods. Even though they give full respect to them. But the thing is, for them, their heart is already full. Krishna wants the heart either full with his love, or he doesn't want. Not like, little bit I worship there, I want that God also, I want this God also, but I love Krishna also. Nothing. No. Krishna Bhakti is not going to come to you. Krishna Bhakti means you are the only one. For a Patni, there is only one husband. The same way, you have only one. That is called Ananya Bhakti. If you don't have Ananya Bhakti, Krishna Bhakti is not going to really come here. It is very special. That is why gods even cannot get it. Now, different yugas, because we are now in Kali Yuga. So, this Chatur Yuga, Chatur means four yugas, they really keep on coming again and again. Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, Kali Yuga, like that. In the Satya Yuga, how one really got liberation? Through meditation. They sit there for years and years there, meditate on the Lord. They had the pure mind. There was no disturbance. Everything was available. So they did meditation. Then Treta Yuga, they did yajna. Yajna means, fire sacrifice. They were doing and doing again and again and again. So many things indefinitely they were actually. Because we are doing remember Srimad Bhagavatam, what was the 60,000 sages in Naimisaranya were actually trying to do? They were trying to do the yajna only. But then when Sutta Goswami came, he said, forget it. You read, about Lord Krishna. You hear Srimad Bhagavatam. That's the only thing that can actually do the highest goal. You will attain Krishna. That is the highest. Then comes the Dwapar Yuga. Dwapar Yuga is the one that Krishna actually was born in the last Dwapar Yuga. That ended about 5,000 and some years. And that time there was temple worship. That is why even now, temple worship is still going on, because Kali Yuga, even though we are in Kali Yuga, we are actually in the beginning of the Kali Yuga. Only 5,000 years have really gone. So our total of 432,000 years. Only 5,000 years. So you are in the very beginning. So that is why temple worship is coming. But as we go, because so many demonic people will come and they will really demolish the temple. So the temple worship is going to be very, very difficult. So chanting a Nama Sankirtan, that is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and inaugurated the Yuga Dharma for the Kali Yuga. Yuga Dharma, what is the Yuga Dharma? Kali Yuga Dharma is chanting and Nama Sankirtan. That is what we really do. So that comes to so this is how, doing Nama Sankirtan and chanting, we develop the bhakti to Krishna, and that has 9 processes, 9 angas. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Padasevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakyam Atmani Vedanam Sakyam Atmani Vedanam. The 9 processes of bhakti are hearing about the Lord and chanting the names of the Lord, remembering the pastimes and leelas of the Lord, and serving his lotus feet as a deity form, and worshipping him every day, and offering prayers, your Diksha mantra or all the mantras, so many offers you are doing every day 3 times, and being a servant. Your mindset is you are a servant of him, and also dear to him. You become friendship with him. You really have, he is the soul for you. He is everything for you. And finally, you offer your own soul and everything to him. Done. Everything is given to you. So Shravanam. What is Shravanam? Hearing. Hearing what? Hearing about the Lord, his qualities, his leelas and pastimes. That's what exactly what Parishit Maharaj actually did. This is how one enters into bhakti. How does this happen? Attending sadhu sangha. So when you attend sadhu sangha, hear from the sadhus and associating with sadhus, first kind of Shravana comes. That is the first kind of Shravana. What is the second kind of Shravana? Second kind of Shravana is hearing from one's own guru. Because in the public, lot of truth won't be really spoken to the public. It is only guru will give you those confidential things to the disciple. There are so much of confidential things that only guru. That's the second stage of the Shravana. Then Kirtanam. Kirtana means singing bhajans about the Lord. This is the best of all the 9 angas, actually, they say. Especially the Mahamantra in various tunes, that is a Nama Sankirtanam. That is extremely powerful. When you really do the Nama Sankirtan with a lot of people, it's called, Kirtanam. Kirtanam is this. Sankirtanam means you are actually singing that, doing the Kirtan with all the people, right? All the devotees. So then Smaranam. What is Smaranam? Chanting and remembering the Lord. Smaranam mainly comes from chanting. However, advanced devotees always remember Krishna. It does not matter what they are doing. They are cooking or doing some work. It doesn't matter. Always think with the thought about Krishna will be always going on. It will be there in the background. So now Shravanam, Kirtanam and Smaranam. If we take 3, that's why you really saw star there. I put star there because these 3 are the most important process of develop bhakti, of which the Sankirtanam is even the topmost. Alright, then Pada Sevanam, serving the Bhagavan as a deity. So Pada Sevana involves deity worship and circumambulating the deities and visiting holy places and doing Tulasi Seva, growing and nurturing Tulasi Devi. That itself will actually give you Krishna. All these are called Pada Sevanam. Then Archanam. Archana means you are actually offering, reciting Diksha mantras and offering prayers, offering flowers, incense, water, Naivedyam, etc. to the Lord. Here you are actually doing, when you are actually doing the Diksha mantra and all the chanting, there is 2 things, Nama and Mantra. We really read that. Nama is actually the names of Bhagavan. In this case, Mahamantra means it is actually Mahamantra. Why it is called Mahamantra? This is the highest mantra. There is no other mantra more than that. What is that? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. These mantras actually are made from the Nama, because Nama is the most powerful. Then they put Klim and then Namaha, etc. and then they really make a mantra out of that. Okay, so mantra has Nama in it. It's actually enveloped with all these bija. Klim means that's a bija. Then Namaha, etc. So it's the most powerful mantra is Mahamantra. Bandhanam, worshipping. Bandhana means worshipping. Worshipping is a key process by every devotee. Then Dasyam, being a servant of the Lord. Suppose you are a grahastha. You have a home, you have a job, you have children, etc. You are actually there in the family. How the Dasyam actually comes in the feeling, this home, it's actually the owner is my Lord. So you have a puja room, you have a deities, and they say, he is the owner. I am not the owner. I am just a servant, serving him. All belongs only to him. I am only using them for his service. This is the attitude of a grahastha. That should be like that. Never feel that you really own anything. In fact, we cannot own anything in this world. Everything belongs only to him anyway. What did he bring when you really came here? Nothing. And this world belongs to him. How can you really claim that this is mine, that is mine, that is mine, this and everything? So why you are actually possessive? Because you don't have anything. Pauper, literally 0. Sakyam, friendship with the Lord. Sakyam means feeling of friendship, very, very close to the Lord. So when serving, we really, have the same feeling. And in fact, when you serve, it's called Vaidya Sakyam. Okay, there's a name also for that, when you really serve the Lord. Atmanivedanam, offering oneself completely to the Lord. Sashtanga Namaskaram, lying flat on the floor, keeping deity to the left. Okay, this is very important. You really read that, in fact. Because you can never actually give Sashtanga Namaskaram. Sashtanga means actually you are not supposed to even wear anything on the top. Like this is for the males. And you have to really give the Sashtanga Namaskaram so that 8 parts of your bodies should really touch the ground. And you should not give straight to the deity like this. You have to flat. Exactly like as you see. Okay. So this means you are giving completely yourself to the Lord. Like a purchased cow. Suppose you really buy a cow and all the milk and everything belongs only to you. So you are the maintainer. So the cow doesn't really go, does its own maintenance. No, you are actually purchased. Like that. You are purchased by the Lord. You are a servant of him, and this is what, so that is actually Atma Nivedana. You are giving everything to him. completely. Because when you worship, people may think, oh, I will give flowers to Krishna, I will give fruits, I will give tulasi, I will give incense, I will give everything to Krishna, I will make nice naivedyam, offer to him, and then I will eat it, and so on. All this may sound really good, but our Acharya say, no, you are wrong. This is not the way to do. You give yourself completely to the Lord, then whatever you do, that automatically goes to him. Don't try to exploit that way. Okay? So this is how you should really have your attitude towards Lord Krishna. So you belong to him and he belongs to you. And how is that? You are completely giving your whole life. That means your soul, everything, complete to him. That means whatever you do, you are doing for him. Whatever that you eat, that is actually for him. Like that it goes. This is how sadhus are really very, very high. Because they always think like that. But how many people that this kind of attitude comes? Very rare. Okay, now to end about fully surrendered soul who has developed prema bhakti is eligible to go to his abode. He says that. Only, right? Fully, completely surrendered soul. He comes to me. That's what he says in the Gita. That is a Prema Bhakta. So the Prema Bhakta is eligible to go to his abode, Goloka Vrindavan. Where it is full of dance and varieties and singing. All you really immerse there. There is no time to even think about it, because there is no past time, there is the only present tense, that's it. It's beyond Kala, and this is the top. His Goloka Vrindavan is the topmost of all the spiritual abodes, above Vaikunta, way beyond Vaikunta. And by this I would like to call Yashika to really sing the song Goloka Lokam Adude, Gokula Ganam Padude.
Goloka Lokam Adude, Gokula Ganam Padude, Govinda Balam Leela Mellam Anandam. Goloka Lokam Adude, Gokula Ganam Padude, Govinda Balam Leela Mellam Goloka Lokam Adude, Gokula Ganam Padude, Ganam Malimeham Narupullam Kulgeetam, Ganam Malimeham Narupullam Kulgeetam, Nadam Naditeram Nalatohai Mayal Natanam, Ganam Malimeham Narupullam Kulgeetam, Nadam Naditeram Nalatohai Mayal Natanam. Vrindavanamilam Anandame, Vrindavanamilam Anandame, Goloka Lokam Adude, Gokula Ganam Padude, Govinda Balam Leela Mellam Anandam. Goloka Lokam Adude, Gokula Ganam Padude, Gopalam Mandahasam Madhovanam,
இது யாரு உன் பேர் என்ன? அர்ஜுன் ஜோயலா?
Moham Manamoham Gopikatam Madhusudanam, Palam Gopal Mandahasam Madhovanam, Moham Manamoham Gopikatam Madhusudanam. Vrindavanamilam Anandame, Goloka Lokam Adude, Gokula Ganam Padude, Govinda Balam Leela Mellam गोलोकलोकम् आडुदे गोकुलगानम् पाडुदे गोविन्द बालं लीलमेल्लाम् आनन्दम् गोलोकलोकम् आडुदे गोकुलगानम् पाडुदे. Thank you.